Have you ever held on to a grudge so tightly that it began to shape your thoughts, your mood, even the way you see the world? Maybe it started small, a heated argument online, a cutting comment from a friend, a family member who betrayed your trust. Days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and yet the wound is still alive. It resurfaces when you least expect it. And the strange part, often, the person who hurt you has moved on, while you remain chained to the memory. We think holding on to anger makes us strong. But doesn't it only keep us stuck? Even science confirms it. Unforgiveness fuels stress, anxiety, bitterness. And yet if forgiveness brings freedom, why is it so hard to forgive? Because forgiveness feels like weakness, doesn't it? It feels like injustice slipping through our fingers. But what if forgiveness is actually strength? What if it's the very key that unlocks peace? To explore this, let's step back thousands of years. The story of Joseph, a young man who had every reason to hate, to get revenge, to cling to bitterness, but chose forgiveness instead. Joseph was 17, loved by his father Jacob. Given a beautiful coat, a coat of many colors. It was more than fabric, it was a symbol of favor. But favor can be dangerous. His brother's envy burned hotter each day. Imagine your own siblings hating you so deeply they could barely speak a kind word to you. And then came Joseph's dreams. Dreams of greatness. Sheaves of grain bowing down. Stars bending low. He shared them, maybe with innocent excitement. But to his brothers, those dreams were salt in the wound. And so they acted. One day, far from home, they stripped him of his coat. They threw him into a pit. Can you hear his cries, 17 years old, begging, pleading, looking up at the faces of brothers and moved by his pain? Then, instead of killing him, they sold him, sold their own flesh and blood to traveling merchants. Can you imagine that? Betrayal. Back home, Jacob wept over a bloodied coat, convinced his son was gone forever. But Joseph's story was far from over. Dragged to Egypt, sold into Potiphar's house, Joseph worked diligently and rose in trust. But just when things began to settle, another blow struck. Potiphar's wife accused him of something he never did. Lies bound him tighter than any chain. He was thrown into prison. How do you forgive betrayal after betrayal, injustice after injustice? Would you, or would the bitterness finally take root? Yet even in prison, Joseph's faith did not die. He interpreted dreams. And in time, Pharaoh himself summoned him. 7 years of abundance, 7 years of famine. Joseph's wisdom impressed Pharaoh, and in a stunning twist, the prisoner became second in command over all Egypt. From pit, to prison, to palace. Incredible, isn't it? But power wasn't his greatest test. That test came with the famine. People from every land came to Egypt for grain. And among them, his brothers. The very ones who sold him. Standing before him, bowing low, not knowing who he was. Imagine that moment. The faces of betrayal, now desperate, now powerless. What would you have done? Revenge, silence, mercy? Joseph didn't reveal himself right away. He tested them. He pressed on their conscience. He watched for change, and slowly, he saw it: guilt, sorrow, even a willingness to sacrifice for one another. They were not the same men. And then Joseph broke. Tears flowed. He sent the room away, and with a trembling voice he said, "I am Joseph. I am your brother." His brothers froze. Terror, guilt, expecting judgment. But Joseph's words pierced the silence. "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." In that moment, years of pain and betrayal were released. Forgiveness triumphed. And that forgiveness didn't just heal Joseph, it saved his family, preserved a nation, and shaped the future of Israel. Forgiveness didn't erase the past. It didn't excuse the wrong. But it transformed the story. And isn't that what forgiveness really is? Refusing to let the past chain your future. So who do you need to forgive? A friend who betrayed you. A parent who failed you. A partner who broke your trust. Unforgiveness keeps you chained to pain. Forgiveness sets you free. Just like Joseph, you may discover that what was meant for harm, God can turn for good. So how do you begin? Start by naming the wound because you can't heal what you won't face. Choose empathy, see the brokenness in the one who hurt you. Set boundaries because forgiveness doesn't mean repeating the cycle. And finally, release the need for revenge, not for them, but for you. Imagine waking up without bitterness weighing you down. Imagine living unshackled, free, at peace. That is the power of forgiveness. Joseph's story proves it. Forgiveness is not weakness, it's strength. Forgiveness is letting go. Forgiveness is choosing freedom. So let me leave you with this. What would your life look like if you chose to forgive today? If Joseph could forgive betrayal so deep, what's stopping you from letting go of your own chains? Take the first step. Forgive, release, live free. And if this story has stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this message with someone who needs hope today. Subscribe for more stories that inspire, and join us on this journey of healing, freedom, and faith. Because the question remains, are you ready to let go?